So it's been reported today that Liverpool have been involved in a potential swap deal involving Anthony Gordon and Jarell Quansah. Now, it's already been reported that this deal was thrown off the table because Liverpool said that they did not want to get rid of their young centre-half, which, from my personal perspective, I think is probably the right move because you got to say he's looked class as he's come in, Quansah, and you don't really want to let that go, especially in a potential swap deal. Obviously, there would have been other funds included, probably leaning more towards us paying Newcastle than vice versa, it would seem. But just generally speaking on the fact of Gordon potentially coming to Liverpool, I think this would be a good signing. So he got 12 goals, I believe, in the whole of last season for Newcastle. And let's be honest, that was a pretty shit Newcastle side. For the first half of the season, they were completely rubbish. They picked up a bit towards the end, but that was a very injury-stricken and just all-around just poor performance from Newcastle. Obviously got thrown out of Europe instantly as well. So, from a Gordon perspective, personally, obviously Liverpool, bigger club, Champions League football, etc., all good things. In terms of how he'd fit in at Liverpool, I mean, left wing, obviously you're going to have Diaz as competition, Gakpo potentially as competition, Núñez potentially as competition, because they're very fluid in how they attack across that front three. But as we said, 12 goals, I believe, for Gordon in the whole of last season. I think Diaz only got 13. And bearing in mind, he was obviously involved in more competitions at later stages. Similar sort of numbers. You've got to think that with better players around him, Gordon could quite easily replicate that or potentially improve upon it. So, as an actual squad, if that's what Schlott's looking to build, or just a general better squad all around encompassing, I don't think it's a bad move, to be honest. I mean, he's got bags of pace, very direct, truly sort of fits that sort of mindset. Obviously, he used to play for Everton, a little bit of a red flag there, but it is what it is. What can you do? I don't think it would necessarily be a bad pickup for a player either, especially as we know, Newcastle have had so many issues with financial stuff recently. Obviously, they're looking to offload players. You've heard rumblings of Guimaraes going, Isak going. Gordon could clearly fall into the same sort of pool as those players, and I think they would demand a decent amount for him. If Liverpool would just go up front with just pure cash, I think you're looking at, 60 mil? I think, how much did they pay? I think they paid around 50 for him, and that wasn't too long ago. So, I think you're looking at least 60, 65 million. You got English tax added onto that as well, probably up to about 70 odd. Is he worth that? I don't know. I don't think so, but he's 23, got bags of potential there. He should be knocking on the door of the England squad. Obviously, he's gone with that England squad. Should be in the starting 11, in my opinion, but that's a different thing. If you want to talk more about that, look at the Southgate video we said earlier this week. But I do think that this is an area that Liverpool are going to need to strengthen in the long run. I mean, Diaz's output realistically last season wasn't good enough. Neither was Gakpo's. That was the whole problem. That's where Liverpool fell away towards the end of the season. They didn't have that attacking output in terms of goals, what they normally do. So you've got to think he would improve Liverpool in that aspect. You've then got to look at players like your Núñez's and your Gakpo's. Have they had their time? Not necessarily at the club, but as in have they had their chance to prove themselves and cement a spot in that team? I think Núñez possibly has. I think he'll get, obviously, one season under Arnie anyway, just to obviously just give it a go, see what you can get out of him. But there's definitely room there to improve, and obviously I'm fairly sure Gordon can play left and right. You've obviously got Salah, one year left on his contract, getting older. There's always been that rumoured deal with Saudi since that's become a thing. You could potentially see him moving there next season, so you're going to need to find a replacement somewhere. I know that there's been rumours of Kudus, but if Gordon's available to play on that right, I don't think that's necessarily a bad... I mean, you're never going to replace Salah, right? So if you're going to pick up somebody to go in that position and try and fill that void, if you can get him a year with Salah to try and sort of learn the trade of that side, because obviously Gordon is predominantly left-footed, can cut in, do that same sort of stuff, I don't think it's necessarily a bad option. I think that the only real argument against this move is obviously, when it comes to the swap deal at least, is that Liverpool obviously can't afford to lose any more centre-halves. You've got an ageing Van Dijk, you've got an injury-stricken Konate, Matip gone, and you've got Quansah and Gomez. Gomez who also loves an injury. So, if anything, you need to be strengthened in that area, not taken away from it. So, it fully does make sense why they haven't gone for this swap deal option. But then from that Newcastle perspective as well, if you get rid of Gordon, supposedly they've queued up sort of Anthony Elanga potentially for a sort of replacement. Very like for like, makes sense. Obviously had a decent spell at Nottingham Forest last season. So you could see things slotting into positions for this potential sort of couple of transfers if the wheels get put in motion. Just as long as there's not a bike involved, because then Gordon's going to be in trouble, isn't he? But yeah, do you guys think this is a good move for Liverpool, or do you think they need to strengthen other areas first? I personally think they're crying out for another centre-half, and realistically probably another midfielder in there before they look at the attacking options. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below, and if you are enjoying these videos, please do subscribe.